Hi, this is Mark. Congratulations. You have found this amazingly awesome show. Chances are you're listening to it right now on whether it's iTunes or Stitcher Radio or some other mobile app that allows you to stream this amazingly awesome show to your ear holes. And I can't stress how awesomely amazing this show really is. But did you know that you can also catch the latest episode of this show on the Tangibound Network? That's right. Go check out tangiboundnetwork.com. You can look them up and you can listen to it right there. It's even mobile friendly. What more could you ask for? Which means you can pull it up on your iPhone or your Android, even your Windows phone. Yeah, who has one of those? But still, point remains, you can do it. You can do it. Check it out, tangiboundnetwork.com. Listen to this show, the latest episode, every time. Check it out.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
A light sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. A light sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time, stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to the Crazy Life, everybody. This is the After Dark in the Bedroom episode. Well, only thing about it that's really in the bedroom is me, because I had to be with the air conditioner. So if you hear that noise in the background, if it picks up on the mic, I apologize, but it is really hot here, and I don't really want to be hot and sweaty and sitting in my living room. So we are now in the bedroom to give you a little insight. And with me, as usual, is Brian. Hey, Brian.
Hi.
How are you doing? How's your week?
Well, first of all, we got to tell everyone that, Heno's too good for us this week, and, he's off being a fanciful prince, and no, I'm kidding. He had to work tonight, so that's why you won't be hearing his lovely sounds tonight, unfortunately. So
yeah, I was going to let that be the elephant in the room. Everyone's questioning, where's Heno? What's going on?
No, he just doesn't care about you as much as we do. So,
We know that's not true.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd much rather be here, doing this with us than
absolutely
doing whatever it is he's doing at work. I don't know what their weather's like, but if it's anything like most of the country, it's probably awful. So
hot.
Yeah, that's
very, very hot.
That has certainly been the word of the week for pretty much everybody. I mean, man, everyone I've been talking to online, there's been a couple of days where, people are like, yeah, it's so hot here, and I was like, yeah, like the one day here, I'm like, we're in Michigan and it's like 95, and then the humidity, and it's like, it's like, I know, get a little taste of, what the South is like, because they get a lot of that with that nice humidity and high heat levels. Although we don't generally hit hundreds, but we've really been pushing it, this last week here. So
yes, we have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. But this week I had I went into my therapy visit and everything was fine. Just a normal visit. But while we were in there, my therapist found out, because there's shifts in stuff with Medicaid going on right now, that she found out that my insurance only pays, like most insurances only pay for so many therapy visits, essentially. And mine only pays for $20 a year, and we didn't know that, and I've hit that number. Yeah. So,
oh no.
Yeah, so basically my options, I can't see this therapist anymore this year unless I pay out of pocket.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that kind of ruined my feeling coming out of therapy.
Sure.
There are other options. Like, I can go to the state mental, I can't remember what it's called, and I keep forgetting it. But, the state has a mental health place that I can go to and for therapy and stuff. But it stinks because I have to start over. Even though like my medical records could be transferred up there and stuff, it's still, now I have to sit down. Do I get along with this person? Do they use the same kind of practices as the doctor that I was going to? Do I feel comfortable with them? Now as a person with anxiety and stuff, I have to build a rapport with a new person, which I know a lot of people go through because there's people whose doctors move, they retire. This happens to people all the time.
Sure.
But it's very difficult, when you're somebody with mental illness, because you get into, and we all are creatures of habit, but as soon as she told me that, I was like, wow, I bet a lot of people quit going to therapy when they're faced with this decision, don't they? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, wow, the people who really need this kind of thing the most are faced with, in a lot of ways, basically a situation where they're probably going to make the worst choice they can make, I bet, a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like there's a really significant problem there, And I'll be honest.
But you're not going to make that choice.
I'll be honest, I'm leaning that way. I really don't.
Yeah.
I kind of
figured.
I don't want to go start again. I don't know though. I really haven't decided yet, but I don't want to. I don't, or maybe I kind of thought that maybe I'd, step away for a little bit and kind of see how I'm feeling. And kind of make sure that I'm working on the stuff that I've learned from my time in therapy, and really maybe try to force myself to write a blog once a week as my therapy kind of a thing, to get whatever is weighing heavy on me out of my head, whether I publish it or not. Just make sure I'm getting it out of me, type of a thing. So I don't know. And it is, like I said, it may not be the best decision for everyone, but I'm not a person who wants to go through that again. I don't like the idea of that, and it sucks. I shouldn't be forced to go through that.
Yeah.
There should
I agree. That sucks.
Yeah. There should be a better option. And it's like, what I don't get is, if the state has the ability to essentially pay a person at X location to treat me, why won't they pay person at Y location to treat me? It shouldn't matter what location if I'm going. You know what I mean? I hate the fact that is, and I know how the financials a little bit work on it and stuff, but it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I need help. I should be able to just go get that help and whatever. But,
Yeah, it's such a tough thing. And, but just keep in mind how much work you've done so far.
Yeah.
And, how much progress you've made so far.
Right.
And you don't want to put that progress in jeopardy either.
No, I know.
So, if you feel that progress is in jeopardy at all, then you definitely need to make sure you reach out and if it means you have to start over with someone new,
Yeah.
Bring them up to speed on where you're at, and, and get them on the same page with you.
Yeah.
Because you definitely don't want to regress.
Yeah,
You just want to keep focusing on your progress.
Yeah, I know. And that's the whole fight with it, is that it's, I know it's probably not the best call to not go.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it aggravates me to no end, because there's certain doctors that it doesn't bother me much. Like, if I had to choose another primary care provider, it wouldn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Or as much. It would bother me a little bit because it's still different. It's a new doctor.
Yeah.
But it would bother me less. because it doesn't fit, going to a general, your general practitioner, to me doesn't feel as much of an intimate relationship as a psychologist,
Sure.
And that's the difference. And that's why it's like, I don't feel that they should be treated the same when it comes to like the funding and stuff, I think that, it should be looked at differently because they, and like I said, I understand you're gonna have to face this at some point. You're gonna go through it because, like I said, people retire, they move, some doctors change practices, they, move, or they go out of your, state, and sometimes, like with me, my stuff's through the state. So if they were to move to Ohio, I wouldn't be able to go, but it was a really frustrating thing, like I said, just took the wind out of my sails walking out of there. And it's been really frustrating because, again, I had to immediately stop. Going back to last week, talking about the distorted thinking, I had to immediately stop and not catastrophize it, because it became quickly, in my head, it was why does this keep happening? Why can't things line up? Why can't, every time I feel like, I'm getting one foot in front of the other one, something trips me. Why can't I walk in a straight line for a little while, like that kind of thing, and it's just, and, I allowed myself to have a little of that because I just kind of felt like I wanted to, like we talked a while ago with Henno, is like, I kind of just felt like I wanted to have a pity party for a little bit. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna, now
but you can't live there.
Yeah. Now I just gotta, make a decision on it and go forward, So.
Yep. That's the key. I mean, you have to acknowledge the feelings, but you have to also let them go and move past them.
Yeah.
So, it's a process for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's, but anyway, part of the reason I wanted to bring this up is if you're somebody who goes to therapy, make sure you and your psychologist or psychiatrist, whichever you're in, make sure they're aware of, the amount of visits that you have and stuff. 'Cause a lot of insurances do have a cap. And at 20, it's roughly, once every 2.5 weeks, and I was going once a week. I didn't realize that it was 20 or I wouldn't have been going there. I would have spaced it out and, whatever.
Yeah.
And that includes psychiatrist and psychologist visits. So I can't go see my psychiatrist about updates on my medicine either.
Yikes.
So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. I have to talk to my general practitioner maybe straight and see if I can go to her. And, I don't know. That's kind of in the air too. So it's stupid.
How's the medicine going?
It's been good, but I think he was wanting me to come back in a few weeks to set up to decide whether he was going to increase it or leave me the same. So now I don't know what's going to happen because I can't go see him. Like if I had one more visit, then I would have been like, well, I'm not going to go to therapy. I'll save it for that. But I don't have one more visit and I can't pay out of pocket to see him because, it's going to be $100 and some that I don't have, so it's just, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Absolutely.
And nobody should have to make these decisions. You shouldn't be put in these spots. It's like I'm trying to move forward and I'm trying to get myself better, and you can't. It puts you in a position to where you're like, And again, if I go to the state thing, they don't know all this stuff, and to get them caught up, I can't catch them up on a year. They're gonna have to talk with me, see me to really understand where I am. To really get it, it's just, it's you have to. Going to the state, I have to take a significant step back before I can even get back to even to then take a step forward, which is ridiculous. It's just so dumb. Like, oh, a person with mental health issues, yeah, let's help them take a step backwards. That's really smart. So anyway. Yeah,
that sucks.
Yep.
Well, other than that pile, How has your week been? I mean, what's your wins? What's the highlights?
I don't know. This week's not. It's weird because it's been kind of. I mean, I guess the other side of it is that I haven't. I mean, I know I just sound like I was, I was really putting a lot into that, but that was more because I'm doing it for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I really haven't obsessed on that.
Good.
Like I said, I caught that what I was doing, immediately recognized the distorted thought process and tried to immediately, frame it correctly. Hey, this isn't, this isn't the worst case scenario. I mean, it sucks. There's no other way to look at it. It sucks because I've been feeling good. I've been feeling that therapy's been helping, and now I have to decide what my course of action is,
Right.
But I didn't spend all week just, laying in bed over it and whatever, I've had.
Which is huge, which is a very good step.
Right. Exactly. That, I was able to catch it and it wasn't in hindsight that I caught it. Like I do a lot of times. So that was really good, and, so yeah, that was pretty much the biggest win, but just that kind of stuff. And it's, it's a little win, but that is a really big win because again, I do have a big history of catching stuff in hindsight, not as it's happening. So.
And that's really awesome. I mean, that's a great step in self-awareness as well as processing. I mean, it would take you days sometimes to process stuff like that. Yeah. And you were able to take care of it, in a much shorter period of time.
Yeah.
You recognized it, you processed through it, and you're working on solutions.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, it straight out ruined the rest of that day. Like that
sure.
Tuesday.
That's a given.
The rest of the day I was worthless. I just, it completely just really wrecked my day, cause it's, like I said, I've seen what the tools I've gotten from therapy has allowed me to do and stuff. And it's just, like I said, and I like the rapport that I have with that doctor. So to feel like that's being yanked out from you, it sucks. So like I said, I let myself have that day, and then the next day I just was like, okay, I can't keep doing this because it doesn't do any good. There's no it doesn't do it. It doesn't improve the situation. It won't make it any better. So there's no
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely you always have to kind of take things and work on what the next step is going forward.
Yeah.
Because when you stop and you don't move, that's when things catch you and they'll mire you down.
Yeah.
It's like quicksand, and it'll just completely take you down. So you gotta, continuously work.
Well, that's
so you
the thing.
Don't slide down those hills.
I've felt for the longest time, especially with depression, that when you stop, you start regressing. And that's, it's, you can slow down, but you can't stop. Cause when you stop, you usually start moving backwards, and so I just didn't want it to come to that. And like I said, Tuesday was a really, really awful day, but it wasn't so awful that I wasn't angry or anything like that. It was just just that kind of day, just but whatever. And I, like I told I actually told her earlier in the day at therapy, I was like, when I get days like that, I just let those days happen, rather than fight them. I used to fight those days, and now I just let those days come and realize that it's a lot of times I realize that what happens is when you fight them, what tends to happen sometimes is that you take a day that maybe instead of it being a day, it ends up being 3 days. Instead of just kind of letting it happen, and then the next day I'm like, okay, you know what, I feel better. Like I just, it's like, sometimes when you feel like you have to cry, And you keep fighting it back, and you fight it back, and you fight, and and then eventually you just cry anyway. It's like, just get it out of the way. Just sob, get it out of the way, and then you're like, you know what, I feel a lot better. Or you got to get sick. It's something like that. Sometimes it's just better to just get it out of the way, and then you can move forward. You know, like I said, actually getting sick might be the better one. You feel like you're going to get sick. Would you rather spend all day feeling like you need to get sick, or just do it and then you start feeling better from that point? And I think that's kind of where I was. And
it's about processing.
Yeah.
Emotions are like we've talked about before on the podcast. Emotions exist. They're just there. They don't serve, they serve lots of purposes and stuff, but they're nouns, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, but once we recognize how we're feeling and address it, it's like, okay, right now I'm angry.
Yeah.
And putting a name on it, and, and recognizing the fact that I'm angry. Now, the next step is, once you've identified it, next step is processing through it. Next thing is the questions, like, why am I angry? Then you figure out why you're angry. Like, okay, now that I know why I'm angry, the next step is, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
And then you process it through, but if you from day one go, I'm not angry.
Yeah.
Nope.
Just stay in denial the whole time. Yeah.
Yep. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it's going to catch you. And it's going to take you down. So to start from the beginning, identify it, process it, work through it, and leave it in the past.
Yep.
And move forward.
Yeah.
So easier said than done. For sure.
Definitely. Yeah. That's why I said with that, I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be this way. I'm gonna be like Heno, with his, his temper tantrum that he threw, like I said, just sometimes you just have to have one of those a little bit. And I was a little that way. I was a little, woe is me. And then the next day I was better, and, and then here we are, so, and cause I knew that I had things to look forward to that weekend too. So I wanted to get it out of me, cause I didn't want to ruin, I didn't want to ruin something I was looking forward to also,
Absolutely. Sure.
So, and there's that element too, it's like, and it's easy to let something like that happen. You can easily let, something bad, happen. Plus, when you, like with depression, it's so easy for something like that to, start the cycle for you and start you on a spiral, and you have to be incredibly aware of those things. And luckily overall I was not feeling really down, so it's easier to fight those off. If I had already been kind of on my way and then that happened, that would have been like the shove down a mountain basically,
Sure.
So luckily I was already, I was in an okay place beforehand, so it's a little easier to get your footing,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, since the last time we've talked, I have had a birthday.
Yep.
So thank you to everybody who reached out and wished me a happy birthday. Greatly appreciate it. It was not a milestone, but it was kind of a bigger one for me. It was 38, which is interesting. Kind of knocking on the door of 40, and it's a little bit odd. But yeah, so yet another day, but it was really wonderful. A lot of people, showed a lot of love and caring, and it's greatly appreciated. The other thing, since the last time we talked, I took a trip to North Carolina, which was fun. It was interesting because it brings along, traveling is always very interesting for me, because you've kind of talked about some of your anxieties and stuff when you travel.
I think we both, I actually think we kind of did a show about it.
Probably along the ways.
Yeah.
Sorry folks, Brian and I, neither one of us have the best of memories. So if we repeat things, I apologize. But, so it was interesting because it was a road trip. So it was about 10.5 hours. We left on a Friday afternoon, so we stopped halfway, stayed night at the hotel, and then continued on the rest of the way. So, yeah, it's just interesting. The driver, because I didn't drive, the driver gets road rage, but thankfully he doesn't hang on to road rage. So it's more of a burst, and then it's done.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to hear about the guy who cut him off for the next, 5 hours or anything like that.
Right, yeah. Or it doesn't roll into another and another and another.
Yeah, exactly. So for the most part, it's just kind of, you get the burst and then he's good to go and you're okay for a little bit. So going through major cities in Ohio, there's lots of construction and lots of bad traffic and whatnot. So we had quite a few different spurts, which was interesting. So, and trying to keep myself, calm and level-headed during the whole thing.
Right, yeah.
That's always fun, trying to kind of talk the driver down off the ledge.
Right, yeah.
It's like, just deep breath, 10 and 2, come on. It's like, you don't need to be that close to the person in front of you. Come on, just back off, just a touch. I understand we don't need to, see them picking their nose. Just come on.
Right.
So, yeah. So a little bit of that. But the best part was we went to the cabin that we were staying at was on top of a mountain. And not just a little hill mountain, a big mountain. So you had to drive about 1.5 miles upward.
Yeah.
Winding your way through a mountain on one side and a gully, I guess, on the other side, or a valley, maybe that's the better word for it, a valley on the other side. And so it's a one vehicle road that has two-way traffic.
Those are fun. Yeah.
Yes.
There's a few of those, like in like some of the places I've been in, like West Virginia, and I think Pennsylvania's got a few that I've been through that are a lot of fun, especially if it's, rainy or snowy, or it's a good time. Yeah, good time.
So the way this works is, for those who are not too familiar with the one vehicle road with two-way traffic, is one person has to back up.
Yeah.
So, and it's usually the person coming down the mountain backs up, because the person going up the mountain, if they back up, they could lose control fairly easily because they're already angled down.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, gravity kind of takes control.
Yeah, sure.
So, then you have to back up this winding road until you find a spot that you can pull over, which most of the grassy areas along the side of the road that you technically looks like you could pull over into. No, that's just grass that's growing on the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
So you would roll off the mountain.
Right.
if you tried to pull over onto that spot.
Sure.
So, yes, lots of fun. And you're going 7 miles an hour, because any more than that, your vehicle will pretty much reach out and slap you one, because it's so difficult.
Yeah.
So we get up to the very top. Well, it's not the very top, because there's one person higher up than them, but second to the top, into this little cabin. And there's the front porch and the side porch. And the side porch has rocking chairs on it. Very lovely. The side porch hangs over a valley.
Oh, man.
Yes. And I have a fear of heights. And a pretty significant one, people.
Yeah, I was going to say a bad one. Yeah.
Yes. Not just a little fear of heights. I have a pretty significant fear of heights. Yeah. So this was very challenging, because everyone wanted to sit on the porches, and the rocking chairs and look at the gorgeous mountains and the beautiful valley below.
But on the upside,
and all the good stuff.
Your voice projects well, so I'm sure they could hear you fine from the living room.
Right. Guys, I'm going to stay in here.
Yeah.
You all go out there and have a good time. Yeah, it was it was interesting. Took me a little bit to get comfortable with the
bet.
whole situation.
Yeah, I imagine
But,
so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the best part, the people that we were visiting, the gentleman was, all four of us piled into the vehicle, and we went to town and did some fun stuff. And on the way back home, we're winding our way back up the mountain on this, crazy little rickety road. And it was nighttime. There's absolutely no lights anywhere, of course, because we're on the side of a mountain.
Yep.
So all you have is your headlights. And he's like, "Oh, you guys want to look at the stars?" And shut the headlights off.
Like, I'd rather see the road, but...
Yeah. The two women in the vehicle, me being one of them, did not find this as funny as the guy seemed to find it.
Right.
We're like, no. We would like to see the road and the valley that's on our left side.
Right.
The big valley that, one tire goes off, the whole vehicle goes off type valley. Yeah. That one we want to see. But, so it was quite the trip. But no, there was a lot of beautiful, wonderful things that we saw and we did. We went to the Vanderbilt House, which is awesome. The estate, I should say. We toured the house and we went to the estate, beautiful gardens and things. It was very hot and it was rainy, so they couldn't open the windows in the house.
Oh, right.
So it was very hot, and I'm not sure if we've talked about on the show, but temperature can also make a big difference with anxieties.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, and I had not taken my blood pressure medicine that morning.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah.
No, which, again, heat and humidity mixed with not having, with high blood pressure and anxiety issues.
Right.
And large crowds can equal a very interesting,
yeah, because
time.
your blood pressure, a lot of times blood pressure medicines can help with anxiety. So that's,
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, the person I was with, was quite cranky because of the whole situation. So that kind of distracted me, which was a good thing. Kind of gave me something to focus on other than myself and get out of my own head. But, yeah.
Well, I mean, normally you wouldn't necessarily be thankful for that, but that's, you're right. That is a good distraction because I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you can kind of like focus on them, and you're like not really worrying about yourself because you're just like, oh, let's just get through this.
Yeah.
Without a scene.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I really don't want, don't say things quieter. It's like, you think you're whispering, you're really not. Just quieter.
I hear you though. Like a guy that I talk with in one of the like online groups I'm in, he was at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend and he was posting pictures, and just seeing the pictures of him in the crowds, I was getting anxious because I've been to, Chicago Comic-Con and it's dwarfed by San Diego Comic-Con, and just seeing the masses of people, and you were at Chicago with me, and it's a huge crowd. But seeing the San Diego one, and I was like, oh, like, nope. Just, I was getting anxious, though, seriously, just looking at the pictures. Just too many people.
Yeah.
I get you.
And it wasn't too bad. I mean, there was a lot of people, but, it was very well laid out. So,
well, that's good. Yeah.
You could kind of just go,
that's always the key for me,
rooms.
is if I can see an out, I'm okay, usually. The problem is when I get surrounded,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's, like
absolutely.
I talked about on, that one beer fest I went to, that there was just people all around me. And again, the height that I am does not help that. If I were like 6'3" or something, it would help because I could see over a lot of people then. But being 5'9", I can't see over a lot of people. There's a lot of taller people than me. So I'm looking right at their heads. And that hurts because I can't see the exits, and that's why I'll follow, my friend Tony, or our friend Tony, I'll follow him because he's taller and I know he can see exits. So, if he's walking a certain way, I'll just, he's heading that way, I'll just go behind him,
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, with with me being a woman, I have more opportunity to do this than I think a guy would. But like I've mentioned on the show, I latch arms with people, or I'll like cling onto their back.
Yeah.
As we're going through a crowd or whatever, I'll just become pretty much a little monkey on the back.
Yeah, just grab a shirt or whatever.
Yeah, I'm grabbing a shirt, grab a hold of people.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And everybody that I hang out with or knows me, knows what's going on, and they just go along with it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, so that makes things much easier, but yeah, I'm the same way. And I hate the feeling when I want to go another direction than the crowd and I can't do it.
Yeah.
Because I hate that feeling of being swept along.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate that feeling so much.
Yeah.
If I want to turn left, I want to feel like I can turn left.
Well, because it takes your feeling of freedom away from you.
Yes.
You want to feel like you can
really
move.
feel trapped.
Yep. And then, yeah, exactly. That's the same thing. That's why I said it's like with me, it's like I need a feeling of openness. Like at some point, I need to feel that there's an opening or whatever, that I can just go to that opening. Once I lose that, then I start freaking out. That's usually when things start going bad for me. Other than that, I'm okay in crowds. Like I can be in a crowd and be okay, but after a while, it's like I start looking around. Like even kind of going into. Did you have more from your trip you wanted to talk about, or?
No.
Okay.
We can fine.
Well, because the other thing, I went to a beer festival yesterday, and while we're standing there, they kind of push everyone into a large group, and if you look straight ahead, you just see people, and what I do is while we're standing there, if after a while I start getting that feeling of all you see is people, basically, and we're just standing there, so it's no big deal. We're not really moving. So if you're just standing there, it doesn't bother me much because I'm not trying to go anywhere. I'm just here,
Yeah.
But even that, every once in a while, I would turn because behind us, there's still a lot of open area. So I'd look and see a big open, a road and a big open grass area, and it's like, I know in my head, I could just go. There's all that area. I could just go over there, and, but after a while, more and more people come in and more, so that area starts shrinking a little bit. But by then we were just about to get in. So it wasn't that. And once you're in, there's a lot of open area, so it's, but it's still, when I feel those areas closing in, like that other beer fest I had talked about, like they're just the way it was laid out. It's just a mass of people because basically it's, the lines go from, right to left, and you're trying to go, well, I guess I should say like east to west is the line, and you're trying to go south to north, and it doesn't work well because, you're going perpendicular. So
you're swimming upstream.
Yeah, exactly. And, but, so this one that we went to yesterday, last year I went, and I don't remember if I talked about it on this show or not, but I got heat exhaustion at it. And to the point that I almost lost like my field of sight. I got extremely dizzy. I thought I was going to get sick. And I was having a hard time hearing, and our friend Jeannie actually walked me out of there and took me to, there's a restaurant really close to the place, and we went in there because they have air conditioning, and I just started drinking all the water, because obviously I was dehydrated, and it was about 85 and humid last year. And, after it didn't take a long time, and I started feeling a whole lot better because I was dehydrated. I was too hot. I'm sure all the, and I was in a bad way. Like, we had to go up these stairs, and I almost couldn't see the stairs to go up the stairs. Everything just went from having a normal field of vision to where basically if you had blinders on, to where someone covered your eyes, and that it was pretty much things went almost black on me.
Yeah, that's almost passing out. That's the sign of passing out.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like wobbly, like I felt it, and everything inside just felt weird, And so this year we were going, and it was supposed to be, a nice brisk 96 or so and
Sure.
humid. And I'm like, of course, you know. And I was like, well, we're doing it different this year. We've got a bunch of water on us. They were selling water there this year. I don't remember them selling water last year, but they were selling bottles of water this year. I have that towel that's one of those, what do they call it, froggy towels or whatever, where you get them wet and then you can snap them and they cool. And then when they get warm again, you just snap them again and they cool down again. So I had one of those, except that I forgot it in the room.
Nice.
As I'll do. But we had a bunch of water on us, so I'm thinking, you know, we've still got the water. You know, I've taken my medicine for the day to help with the blood pressure or whatever, and you know, we should be good. We get into the festival, I'm feeling fine. I was pacing myself so I wasn't just knocking back, because last year I no more got in and I started just, knocking back. And they have 3 ounce beer pours. And I was stupid. I got in, I was thirsty because I'd been waiting in 85-degree heat for an hour, and they mushed us all together so close that I was just body heat. We were like one massive human, which I didn't understand. You know, it was so hot, and they were just like, get as close as you can to everybody else. And they did that a little bit again this year, but we were toward the front, so it didn't affect us as much. It was just hotter. But anyway, so we get inside, and I pace myself better. And then I'm standing there at this one tent, and I'm just like, I'm feeling a little off. So I looked at Tony, I'm like, hey man, let me get one of those waters. So he hands me a big water, and I just start chugging it. And next thing you know, my vision starts closing, and my knees start getting weak, and I'm like, oh no, you know, cause that quick. And I see it, one of the tents near us there, you know, there was a pole there, and I kind of went to brace myself on it, and it was wobbly. But a couple of our friends that were there immediately saw me doing that, and they grabbed me to straighten me up. And, you know, Tony was like, are you all right, man? And I was like, no. And he goes, well, and I was like, I need to go to the medical tent, which again, I didn't know they had last year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, before we went to that restaurant, I would have hit that medical tent first. But this year I saw it when we came in. I saw them. The Red Cross has a medical tent right up by the front. They probably should have 2 of those tents, but you know, whatever. Yeah, they should have one kind of toward the back or in the middle somewhere, but whatever. We were somewhere near the middle toward the back. But anyway, I got up there. After on the walk there, I was drinking water as we were walking. 2 of the guys were kind of guiding me to make sure I didn't fall or anything. While I was drinking the water, my sight was kind of immediately coming back.
Good.
Yeah, and by the time I got up there, all my sight was completely back. I could hear everything fine. I sat down. You know, they tucked ice packs up under my armpits, because apparently, because the skin is thinner in your armpits, it helps you can cool down. The blood vessels get cooler quicker that way, which I didn't know, so that was good to learn.
Huh, good to know.
Yeah, because I asked the guy, because you know me, I'm always like, why are you doing this way? So, so they checked my blood pressure. It was very high. It was, you know, it was something like, God, what did he say? It was like 170 something over 90.
Oh, wow.
Which is quite high. And, you know, so I sat there, I drank water and all that. I felt a lot better after a little while. And, he, you know, was like, do you need to go to the hospital? I was like, no, I think I'm okay. And I was like, I'm like, and he goes, yeah, you know, maybe lay off the booze a little bit. And I was like, yeah, I'm done drinking. I'm like, I'm water the rest of the way. So I get up, walk over to where the rest of the guys were standing. I'm stood there for maybe 5 minutes, and I start feeling weird again. And I start feeling like weak, and I'm like, holy shit. Excuse my language. And I went back over, and the guy goes, you okay? And I was like, no, I'm starting to feel lightheaded and dizzy again. So he made me sit down, and it gave me more ice packs. And I sat there, and he goes, I think you need to get out of the sun. He's like, I don't know that you need to go to the hospital. He's like, but I think you need to get out of here. So Tony and I left and went to the same restaurant I went to last year. So that's my tradition. Now is, you know, nearly passing out and going to this restaurant.
Nice.
But their air was it just felt like it was barely on. And what I needed was like ridiculous cold air.
Right.
I needed to get my temperature down is what I needed, because I was so hot. And I don't mean like ice bath, but I just needed to really help get my temp down. But the walk from there to there, and it's not that far, but that walk, I mean, I had nothing left. I was exhausted. But Tony and I sat there for a little bit, and then we went to all of us were going to go to a barbecue place for dinner. And it was like 2 blocks from there. And I told Tony, I was like, he looked at Uber and it was like $5 for a ride from the one restaurant to the other. And I was like, I will gladly pay the $5. I was like, cause I don't know that I can walk this far.
Yeah.
Normally I would have been like, all right, let's go, whatever. But I was like, I don't physically think I can walk that distance. And, we got there, their air was like super cold. It was probably like 65 in that place. We walked in and I was like, oh, so much better. And I told the bartender, I was like, just keep the waters coming if you would. And she, did that. And then it wasn't long after that, I felt so much better. And I think that's what it was. I needed my temperature to get down.
Yeah.
And, once I was in a nice, cool environment and got a bunch of water in me, I felt like $1 million other than just being tired. I was exhausted. I literally was exhausted. So the whole point of me telling all of this is, first of all, I've learned my lesson that this is clearly a terrible idea for me to do again.
Yes, you might want to skip the July beer fest.
Well, what I told them is I said, what I might do is if I go, but skip the beer festival and just go out with everybody afterwards. Because they always go out to dinner and have drinks and stuff after. And that, and that was a good time. I enjoyed hanging out with everybody after. I was like, maybe I'll just hang at the room. Because we leave early enough that I don't get much sleep ahead of time. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'll just go to the room and sleep, and then I can just catch a car ride or something, or figure something out, afterward, or, we can straighten all that out or something, or like you said, I'll just straight up skip it, because that's 2 years in a row of this, that's plenty of message for me,
Mm-hmm. You're right. That's telling you that you staying around in that hot of weather is not a good idea.
And me, I don't deal with extreme heat well. I never really have.
No, you don't.
I thought, and I game planned a little bit better this year. It still wasn't optimal, because that towel probably would have really helped, because that would have kept me cooler, I probably should have went with water sooner than I did. There's things that I still could have done better, but I just think that in the end, that even if I do everything 100% right, I don't think it's going to work for me. And I think it's just a bad idea,
Sure.
I'm just not built for that. And plus the medicines I'm on, a few of them are like, you should probably stay out of direct sunlight because, so, and I do have high blood pressure, so it's a bad idea. There's just too many reasons for me to probably just skip it. So again, the moral of the story is, we talk a lot on the show about listening to your body. And, at times we talk about the mental part of it, but this is actually one where both sides of this was affected for me, because, as soon as I started feeling a little off, now because of the year before, I knew exactly what was going on. As soon as I started feeling a little weird, I was like, oh no. And that's why I was like, I need a water, and because I had that water, I think it helped because I didn't get as bad as the year before, because the year before, like I said, I almost couldn't see. This year, it basically was to the point that I had blinders on, I could still see in front of me, but I couldn't see, I had no peripheral vision. And then as I was drinking the water and we were walking, everything was kind of coming back. So I think that water MVP of the day, basically. And,
right.
Also to, Dev and, Jason and, Tony and T and Bill, the guys who were walking around with us, because, they all, kept me from hitting the ground, and, and Jason bought me an extra water, and, just those guys took it. And a couple of those guys I had just met like an hour before that, kind of a thing. So those that, good group of guys. But again, listening to your body, and that, first of all, mine's telling me don't do this again. But knowing that when you start feeling weird, you need to make a change. And, a lot of stuff. And also showing the importance of, making sure you're taking your medicines and stuff. Cause, had I not taken my blood pressure medicine for the day, who knows, that could have been a worse situation.
And communicating.
Yes,
a
very
huge
much.
thing. Communicate with those around you. If you're not feeling right,
Yeah.
if it's mental, if it's physical, whatever it is, if you're not feeling right, clue people in around you. Bring them in on it, because if something would happen, they're there to help you.
Yeah, well, that was the thing, like with, when I first told Tony, I was like, I'm not feeling good, he was like, you just need some more beers, the way we will do with each other,
Sure.
And not, and for anyone listening, Tony and I have known each other like 30 years. This isn't him being a jerk in any way. This is what him and I would both do. But the second I was like, no, I need to go to the med tent, immediately we headed to the med tent, There was no, and again, he left that beer festival with me, much like his wife did the year before. So they gave up their good time to make sure I was okay. So there's no, I am, of course, in no way insinuating that anything but, that they're awesome, awesome people. So it was just, it really sucks because the rest of that day was, it took a long time for me to feel good, But then when we left, we went to a barbecue place, was the restaurant we went to, and I had no appetite though. That was the thing. Finally, I was like, I really need to order some food, because I need to eat. But I drank so much water that I really wasn't hungry. I had drank so much water, I was full, and
yeah.
But I got some food, and then we went back to our rooms, and we were all going to get back together later. And everybody was just so exhausted from the day. That heat just ruined everybody. So, if you're listening, if you're going to be in any of this kind of weather, just, keep, if you can get one of those cooling towels, those things are great. Those are some awesome inventions that have come out. Get you one of those and keep them handy. Make sure you stay hydrated, that kind of stuff. Listen to your body. And again, keep in mind, by the time you get really thirsty and you're in that kind of heat, you've already hit a dehydration point. So, stay ahead of the curve. If you're doing any like boozing while you're out, make sure you throw some water spacers in there occasionally to actually stay hydrated. Don't be, beer's got water in it. Don't be stupid. Don't be like your old pal Brian.
Yeah, don't be dumb, people.
Yeah, melting isn't cool. So,
exactly.
Yeah. But it was still a good time, aside from that, 2 shower window.
Well, good. I'm glad you're able to have a good ending to the week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, we've been recording for about an hour, haven't we?
We're pretty close. Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. We didn't have one particular topic this week like we usually do, folks. We were kind of riffing it, but I do believe that there were some really cool highlights out of everything. I think Brian summed it up best just now, that listen to your body, listen to what your body is telling you, mental and physical. I kind of even had a little bit of that this weekend with a lot of my anxieties kept, flaring up and stuff, and I made sure that people around me knew what was going on, where I was at with everything, and it just makes things a much smoother and more fun trip for everybody when we can communicate well with each other. So that being said, if you want to continue the conversation with me or Brian, you can actually reach out to us. You can reach me on Twitter at Jen's Crazy Life. That's Jen with a G. You can also shoot us an email at thecrazylifepodcast@outlook.com. You could also go to our website at thecrazylifepodcast.weebly.com. And Brian, how can they reach you?
You can also find when we post new episodes of the show on Twitter at The Crazy Life Pod. You can check us out on the Facebooks at facebook.com/groups/crazylifepod, which I need to start posting on because I haven't been posting a whole lot on there. You can find me on Twitter at Stunami. Did you mention Heno's Twitter? I wasn't.
Not yet.
Okay. You can find Heno on Twitter at Ida Heno. Or you can find him on Facebook if you look up Henno Hater, Heitur, I believe.
Not many Hennos on Facebook.
Right,
so
yeah.
that.
Right. And if not, I mean, you can find him through us, or we can put you in contact with him if you want to. You can please check out the networks that we're part of. The Tangent Bound Network, which can be found at tangentboundnetwork.com, and also Wicked Radio Network, which is partially run by our pal and the guy I mentioned, Dev, at wickedradionetwork.com. Let's see. Oh, yeah, duh. I forgot to mention the other podcast that I'm on, which is not safe for work, but it's Salty Language. You can find that on Twitter at salty_language or at saltylanguage.com. And however it is you found us, whether it's iTunes or Stitcher, please rate, review, and subscribe. That helps other people find us easier, which is always helpful, because then, maybe we can help some other people or entertain them along the way as well. And let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, yeah, the obligatories.
Yes.
We're not doctors, therapists, or trained professionals of any kind. If you need help, please seek out professional help. Please don't self-diagnose. And, and of course, if you're feeling suicidal or if you're planning anything, please seek out help. Please don't be alone if you're in that position. Call someone in your support group, or call 911 and tell them you're having a mental health emergency, or call the suicide prevention hotline number. Or again, on our Facebook group, I've got a whole list of contact things like online support groups and different things that if you're just looking for someone to help you, and even if money's an issue, there's places that can help put you in contact with therapists or support groups or whatever. So please reach out if you need the help. There are options. If you want the help, it's out there. You just have to find it, and hopefully we can, like I said, there's on the Facebook group, or just reach out to me or Jen or Henno, and one of us can put you in contact with that stuff if you need it.
Absolutely. So, with that, I guess we draw to a close. Everyone, keep cool, keep safe, and keep breathing.